Bring it back. I know. That's $60,
Alright, sorry, I need to, I feel bad to sit. I injured my back this morning. Me with, being a little bit technically overweight. And I have flat feet, yeah, so there's a time limit, there's a quota limit of how long I can stand. And if I stand too long and my lower back start like getting hurt. And then yesterday what made it worse is I think I don't know, salah tidur ya, I think that's the English. And this morning my back is really stiff right now. So if I do just like this, it's a hurt. And same here, if I move my neck left and right, it's really painful right now. So apologize for being so casual right now. Today I just want to wrap up the lesson from Book of James, as Pastor Yudi been covering the last 3 chapters. So today I'm gonna talk. I call me Jayus a little bit. This is the first time I managed to use the title from the T-shirt. Proud to be humble. It just happened. It's the same, but it's been how to put it? Like it's been a whirlwind week. It's really this week. It's really. I don't want to use the word crazy, but that's the best way I can say it. It's been hectic. It's been eventful, and it's just so many things going on. And the funny thing is, like, even today happening. I know. So many things happen. Like, for example, so yesterday, me and Pastor Yudi. Welcome. Me and Pastor Yudi, we went to. Before I share my story, so anybody know what is Murphy Law? Anybody heard about Murphy Law? So Murphy Law, it's like an adage. It's a common saying in the engineering. If you become an engineer, I think you will learn about this. So basically, Murphy Law stated, anything that can go wrong will go wrong. And it was coined by Edward Murphy, and he was an aerospace engineer. And one of his specialty was to design the rocket propeller. And then he's the one who coined this term: anything that can go wrong will go wrong. But the idea of Murphy Law, it's a tenet of a defensive design. It's a term if you're in engineering, in which one should always assume worst case scenario. So the whole idea, hey, if you're a future engineer, if you're designing something or if you work on a project, you gotta approach this methodology, meaning like you have to always assume the worst case scenario. And I think for me, this whole week is really a reflective of Murphy Law. Like anything that can go wrong will go wrong. And I thought it was just like, okay, maybe the day before going to church, guess what? Even today now, there's some Murphy Law. Like we don't have to, we know it, we feel it. And even like yesterday I accompanied Pastor Yudi to visit a fellow friend who's in prison. So I never met the person, and I'm just kind of interested. So I'm like, okay, let's go. So Pastor Yudi say, all right, I'll be. The appointment is 10. Now, normally, Pastor Yudi already mentioned, like, normally you have to come really, really early. And I'll explain, there's a reason for that. So, Pastor Yudi called, like, I'll be there at 8. And then I'm waiting, right? I'm just waiting, I'm sitting. And then, like, time goes by, it's around 8:20. It's like, wait, is Pastor Yudi late? Like, how come he didn't call? Like, there's no missed call and everything. And then I just so happened had a feeling like, you know what? Let me check my cell phone. So I was sitting here, my cell phone was on the other side of the table, and then I realized Pastor Yudi been WhatsApp calling me. So not exactly, but it doesn't matter whether he called me or using WhatsApp. The problem is my cell phone, because normally before I went to sleep, I use the bedside mode, which is like no vibration, no nothing. I forgot to turn it on change the profile, the setting. So apparently Pastor Yudi been waiting at home for 20 minutes, like calling in front of my home, calling. It's like, all right. It's like, okay, so it's already late. And then we drive to the prison, which is pretty close to, technically the prison is close to Magic Mountain in Valencia. But for some reason, Pastor Yudi Google putting it in the middle of nowhere, 10 miles north and more north. And actually when we're exit already in the middle of nowhere, and there's a certain warning sign in the street that's like there's no outlet in this area. So I'm just wondering, like, did people live here? Like, I'm wondering, like, there's an entry, you know, and then suddenly, and then there's no signal, and then Pastor Yudi GPS suddenly stopped there. It's just like, where are we? So the exact moment that the GPS went off, like say you arrived at destination, it's already at the fork. So it's a pertigaan. And I was like, oh no, where are we? So it's like, okay, let's make a right turn. And then I think luckily this is a divine intervention, and someone from LAWP, so the Department of Water Project, kind of saw us and probably wondering, hey, this is not really a public street, so it's like, he kind of like, hey, what are you doing here? It's like, oh, we want to visit a friend in prison. Like, oh, that's way south, and 10 miles south. So it's always like 9:15. Remember, appointment is 10. So it's like, oh no, we're gonna be late. It's like there's a possibility, like if you're late, like maybe they're gonna like cancel our appointment. So then we rush, we drive back 10 miles south, and then we found out apparently, like I said, the prison complex was really close to Magic Mountain. So I will never be able to see Magic Mountain the same again. It's like, oh my God, around here there's a 2 prison complex. So, you know, that's, you can say, the highlight of the Murphy Law. Like I said earlier, I hurt my back, so that's why I try to sit right now, preserve. And in the beginning of the week, there's not the Murphy Law. As you guys know, my cell phone, the old faithful BlackBerry, it's broken. Not really the old one. Actually, my old one is much more reliable. This is the one that's already have an Android system, right? So suddenly it cannot read the SIM card. And whenever he tries to read the SIM card, it goes loopy, meaning like suddenly go to the home screen, I have to unlock it again, and then the system says, I couldn't find your SIM card, and then just go driving me crazy. So on Monday, I called the T-Mobile service. At first they say like, oh, okay, we try everything, and then they say like, okay, let's do factory reset. We do the factory reset, it works. I was happy, like, okay, thank God, I don't have to do anything. But then but later that night, it go crazy again. And then I try to factory reset, it's even worse. Like it doesn't work anymore. So then I call back the BlackBerry, and then the BlackBerry say like, okay, you have 2 options. We can replace it, or you can have it for repair. Of course, I'm, you know, being a Hokkien, it's like, I want a new one. Exchange. No way. Not gonna happen over my dead body. But then later they say like, oh, I'm sorry, you cannot do that because when you bought it refurbished from Amazon. So your only option is to have it shipped to Florida, and it's gonna take about 7 business days just to repair. So it's like okay, and then I was just like getting mad, like, well, it's your fault, it's your faulty product. It's like it's not even a year, and then on top of that, like they cannot even quote me how much is the repair price and what is the repair cost gonna be, and then they're not telling me whether they will be able to waive it, right? So I was just like already depressed. This is Tuesday morning, and then Tuesday, and then later at night, my wife tried to call Amazon because we buy it from Amazon. Again, Amazon, being good as it is, it's like, oh, well, it's already past the return date. We cannot do anything. So it's like, why don't you, they ping pong me back to BlackBerry. I call the BlackBerry again, the BlackBerry say like, okay, let me try to ask my supervisor whether, in your case we have it exchanged on the same value, we just refurbish. So it's like, going Tuesday night, I already is like, not in a good mood. And then, basically since Zoe, me and Ginny expecting our second kid, Zoe kind of having, maybe I call it sibling anxiety. It's like, she's always wake up in the middle of the night, waking me up, like, Daddy, I had nightmare, Daddy, I cannot sleep, Daddy, I'm hot. It's like, it's just, and the last Tuesday, it was like one of those days. Everything went fine and everything, suddenly when we want to go to sleep, like, Daddy, I'm scared because earlier I read a scary book, Now that was at 9 o'clock. From 9 to 10, it's filled with drama. She's crying, she's like, just getting insecure. And exactly at 10 p.m., I snap. I think I throw something. I remember I punched the wall. Thank God it's not broken. It's not. And then I yell at her. I say somewhere along the line it's like, if you know you're gonna get scared, why you with this stupid book? Can you use your, again, I don't use the F word, but can you not use your something brain? Something like that. I was yelling, I was like mad. And then I was like, okay, if you're not gonna sleep, I go back to my Asian daddy mode, right? Being an Asian, remember growing up, like, terserah, the word terserah. You remember when your parents say, okay, terserah lu mau apa deh, Remember, it's like, I drag her down, alright, I don't care. Like, you wanna walk, if you cannot sleep, you can watch TV, you can do whatever, it's like, just don't come to my room and disturb my sleep. Because I was so tired, and it's like, so I went upstairs, and I literally left her there, and of course my wife, Jeannie, was like, try to appease me, try to, hey, come on, you comfort me. Now, but the problem is, I have to admit, when I'm getting mad, I was like a brush fire. So meaning like, if you're within vicinity, you can get burned, real bad. That's why there's this. And then again, my wife tried to appease me and remind me like, hey, we have to be a good example, we have to be a good parent. And like, remember, like, God treat us with grace, right? He's as a child, basically she just wanted, which is what she says is true, right? Like, how many of us, it's, whenever we read the Bible or listen to the word, that we can assume, we can like say that, yeah, I can do it all, My wife said the same thing, like, come on. I mean, that's why it's job our parent to remind her, to tell her, many times to calm down and to get upset, to sleep and blah, blah, blah. Come on, you and me, it's the same thing, right, honey? When we read the Bible, I will say that we're going to do it, all of them. In the midst of my race, I say yes. But I know it's a lie. Because when I say something sharp in my heart, no, you're a liar. Liar, but I was so mad. It's like, no. And and Jenny said, like, and plus, how you keep saying you don't care, you don't care? She's our, our daughter, a gift from God, It's like, I don't care. It's basically in my mind, that if she's not happy, she's welcome to leave. And then to make my worse, and Joy said, and what about baby Anna? What if baby Anna, have a same temperament with Zoe? My response in race, she better behave. Basically, like, moral of the story, wildfire, don't get close, you'll get. But at the end, guess what? My daughter, of course my wife mad, right? And so we're fight and everything. And basically, now this is the funny thing. This is how great this God is, Even in the midst of all of inappropriate behavior, I just feel ashamed, and I was like, really, I'm sharing my shameful week of Robin's shameful week of the series number how many times, but it is exactly like I feel when I read this, it's really hitting me to the heart. Like, what is causing, like James 4:1 verse 3, right? What is causing the quarrel and fight among you? Don't they come from the evil desire at war within you? You want what you don't have, so you scheme and kill to get it. You are jealous of what others have, but you can get it, so you fight and wage war to take it away from them. yet you don't have what you want because you don't ask God for it. So I just reflective, and then I think maybe what made me snap, I just feel like, kok kayaknya lihat, if I look like Pastor Yudi, like the way he talked to Olivia or something, like he doesn't ever have to raise his tone, like he can just talk nicely, and the kids, maybe the kids will listen, Pastor Heinz is the same thing, the way he talk, and put it this way, like Pastor Yudi and even Pastor Heinz can talk to Zoe, like I cannot talk to, I just feel like, why I need to always raise my voice, I need to get mad, so like to the point that she's scared, in order for her to listen, like, that's why I said, like, I'm jealous, I'm jealous. It's not like I don't pray for it. I ask, but then it got revealed to me that maybe the issue is this, the crux is this, but even when you ask, you don't get it because your motive are all wrong. You want only what give you pleasure. So,
Amen.
I don't know, maybe the reason I snap is just because by her seeing, crying and everything, I can be able to sleep, then it just delay whatever my next activity. Which is true. I'm pretty rigid with my schedule, even on my relaxation time. So normally this is what I'm gonna do. This is open secret, okay? So Basuki just Basuki tell me that if I pay $2.50, I can get a Netflix account. So that's my new schedule now. Alright? This is the reason maybe I snap. And then being like a kid with a new toy, I suddenly put every watch list of all the comedy special that I want to watch, from Russell Peter, Jokoy, whatever it is, all the movie that I want to watch, Black Mirror and whatnot. And normally, again, all that I'm going to watch is not suitable for kids. So normally what my idea is like, okay, after Zoe sleep, then I can have my me time. I can sit and relax and I can watch TV. And I think the very fact that I have to deal with my BlackBerry and whatnot make me stressful, so I just feel like I need to relax, I need to take away, my mind, because I feel mad with Amazon and everything. So again, at the end it just boiled down, maybe my prayer is a selfish prayer. It doesn't mean, guess what, every night I pray like, Lord, I just want to pray that she can sleep, pray, Lord, the way I pray is like, it's like typical, like, pray, give her a mind of Christ, that remember that she's not to be afraid, blah, blah, blah. And then I pissed because, like, the prayer wasn't answered. But then maybe, again, cut to the heart. Because maybe it's a selfish prayer to begin with.
Netflix, huh?
Yeah, Netflix, maybe. But this is just me. But, again, in all of this, suddenly, it reminded me of something, like, in our relationship, this is just between you and God. When you see Jesus, okay, in a relationship with God, is Jesus your passenger or driver in your life? Right? I want you to raise your hand aja, okay? How many believe that Jesus is the passenger in my life? Anybody want to raise your hand? No. Okay, nobody, alright. Now I'm gonna ask, so are you saying so is Jesus your driver?
No.
Huh?
I drove you yesterday.
See, the reason why I brought it up, because I still remember somebody kind of used this thing like, hey, if we follow Jesus, isn't Jesus supposed to be in the driver's seat, right? Remember that statement? But then it got me thinking too, but sometimes even Jesus in the driver's seat, we literally treat him like a chauffeur. Right? He may be in the driver's seat, but sometimes we act like, in Indonesia, every year Pak Sopir, remember, right? Hey Pak Sopir, good morning ya, tolong antar saya ke sekolah, anak saya ke sekolah. And then habis itu go to the market, go pick here and there, basically become like your servant, right? And what happens if one day your chauffeur, like when you tell like, hey, please take my daughter to school, or my son or my kids to school, and then the chauffeur, you know what, ma'am, or mister, I don't feel like to take your kids to school today. How about if I drive them to the mall? And if you ask them to pick something, can you pick something in this house? How about if I do it tomorrow? What would you do to that kind of driver? If that was your driver, that's your chauffeur, what you gonna do? You're gonna fire them, right? How dare you? But sometimes I reflect that sometimes my walk as a follower of Christ is instead of based on, it's a matter like when we follow Christ, is it a matter of thy will be done? Thy mean his will be done, or my will be done. We may have a fellow believer here, I believe, but sometimes we really treat God horribly, right? We use prayer as justification to fulfill our flesh, and that's why the interesting thing in chapter 4, James opened. I mean, in Bible sometimes there's a title. I like the New King James Version say, "Pride will create strife." And you remember, Pastor, you've been talking, right? What James wrote, what happened? Why James wrote this letter is because remember there's a major issue going on right at that time. There's a major issue between the Gentile believer, Gentile Christian, and Jewish Christian, right? And they fight, right? They have disagreement, they have arguing because what? Like from the Jewish side, like, hey, if you follow Christ, you ought to follow our Jewish tradition. So if you haven't been, circumcised, you need to be circumcised. If you eat pork before, you must observe kosher law or halal, And maybe you're from this side, like, what? Give up pork? No way, Jose. Yeah, maybe I'm just, but that whole thing going on, and that creates strife, and guess what? There's that throughout the whole thing, James identified, that's the thesis for chapter 4. James identified that the issue among very believer, it's a matter of having a sin of pride. That's why James wrote in James 4:6, therefore he said, God opposes the proud, but give grace to the humble. So what James tried to say is this. I believe this. Yes, he wrote, this is for the Jewish reader, but remember, we right now read this word of God at this very time right now. We're technically not Jewish, right? But the message, it's applied to everyone. He's talking about, as a believer, hey, instead of arguing, instead of following your flesh desire or getting mad at God, whenever like your prayer is answered, or if you feel like you're going through a Murphy law where everything that can go wrong in your life, remember one thing, He gives grace to the humble. He want to remind us that the very basis of our faith is kneeling down. That's the very basis of our faith. Because we know that we're not able to do it ourselves, right? When we pray that prayer, that salvation prayer, like when you say, hey, I want to receive you, Jesus Christ, as my Savior. Right? Remember that prayer? Anybody? If you're a believer, you remember when you have to recite that prayer? What's it called? The Lord's Prayer? The salvation prayer? That's you being humble. Humbling yourself. Meaning basically this. Remember my chauffeur analogy? God, not only I'm not gonna be the driver anymore, and you'll be the driver, but on top of that, I want you to be like the omakase chef. Remember? If you go to restaurant, high-end sushi, what do you want to order, sir? Omakase. You know what is omakase?
Up to you.
Up to you. It's the same thing. Yes, we want Jesus to be the driver, but at the same time, Lord, up to you how you want to drive. How fast, how slow, how long it is, the detour, or it's like, up to you. I'm just gonna sit. Just like, drive me to the prison. Pastor Yudi is like, he drive Prius, but he treated like Lamborghini. But for me, omakase, In my mind back then, I have life insurance, so I'm not gonna afraid, and I trust him because you know why? I'm not panicking when he drives like crazy yesterday because we're late, right?
Still Prius.
Can you imagine if it's Lamborghini?
You know you.
It is what? It's because, again, I trust him, right? But the funny thing is, we never be able to trust God with this kind of, with our life. We fight the unnecessary fight. I remember like Pastor Yudi 2 weeks ago shared, like, sometimes it is shameful. As a fellow believer, we argue a minuscule thing, like a certain song to use, a certain type of service to, a type of dress. Like I said, for us maybe this is casual, right? I can imagine if I do this in Indonesia, they call it blasphemy.
Yes.
Yeah?
They will.
They call it blasphemy. I'm not judging it. I'm just saying that, we fight and argue just like what James wrote, right? There's that division between the Gentile and the Jewish, and James basically went, hey guys, remember, don't fight. None of us is perfect. We receive it by grace.
Yeah.
Why? Because we humble ourselves. That's what the matter there. That's the key. That should be the sole focus of us as a believer. Because guess what? God opposes the proud. And then I do some quick research. I'm not going to do it. And have you heard the 7 deadly sin? That's from Catholic theology. And there's a 7 deadly sin: envy, wrath, gluttony, lust, sloth. I forgot the other one. And then there's the pride. And the funny thing is, in the Catholic theology, they say pride is like the king of all. So it's like I don't think it's coincident why God opposed the proud. And if you study the Bible, Isaiah wrote, right, the fall of Lucifer, because he's so proud about himself that I can be God. Yeah, remember when the Tower of Babel was built? It's the same thing. The man can say, you know what, we can reach God by building a very high tower. That's why God opposed them, right? And then they scattered them around by giving them a different language and tongue. That's the key message. Hey, Gentile, remember where you are before you receive Christ. The same thing, it's like, hey, the Jewish people, remember where you are before you receive Christ. Have that same attitude. Don't fight. If you fight within yourself, how we can be a blessing for others, right? That's the key here, right? How we can grow. And isn't it right? Again, I want to re-emphasize again. Galatians 2:20. Even Paul said, right? My old self has been crucified with Christ. It is no longer I who live, but Christ lives in me. So I live in this earthly body by trusting in the Son of God who loved me and gave himself for me. Now, this is very interesting. And if you continue the next one, the Word of God says, I do not treat the grace of God as meaningless. For if keeping the law could make us right with God, then there was no need for Christ to die. So again, this is one of the key issues, right? Following the Jewish custom, Jewish law. Now I'm gonna bring it up this is from Paul's point of view. Then later I'm gonna share what is the Jesus' point of view, which is technically he was born Jewish, right? So he know about the custom too. So from Paul contend that, hey, if keeping the law could make us right with God, then there was no need for Christ to die. And for us, yes, that's why, right? Grace, freedom to do anything. But remember, yesterday, 2 weeks ago, I told you, Olivia, Hansen, Kyoko, and Keiko, hey, if you receive Christ, you are free from the bondage of sin. You are free to do anything. But remember, every choice, there will be consequences. Yeah? I am free to eat samjam all I want. I'm free to do that. This is America. But there will be consequences. It's called heart attack. You are free to drive as recklessly as you want. But don't come running if you got pulled over by police. Yeah? You are, and I told, I give you an example, like in college. If you're in college, you are free not to attend the lecture or not attend the lecture. You are free not to do your assignment or not to do your assignment. You are even free not to attend your midterm or your final exam. The teacher will not like, where's Agung? Where's Basuki? How come today's the final exam? Where are they? No, the teacher couldn't care less. The teacher just see at the end of the day, oh, okay, 0, fail. The teacher will not care. See, that's the freedom, but the freedom, you know, can't think, it will be the same. Now, I mean, that's the key there. Like, that's the extreme side, right? Now, I say, this is one of now, this is from the Jewish perspective. I will say this is kind of applied to the Gentile too. Jesus said to his disciple though, if anyone desires to come after me, let him deny himself and take up his cross and follow me. So, isn't it kind of, again it's balance, right? It's all about balance. It's like, who are we live for, right? Am I live for Christ? Or am I live for tradition? That's from the Jewish side. Or I'm live to according what I want, which is that the philosophy of Gentile back then, right? Context, during the Roman Empire, I would just say their motto is like, just do whatever you want, you know? Like for example, when they do party back then, right? This is a context, party. When they do a party, they do a lot of banquet, right? A lot of food. You know how did they eat? How they consume at the party during the Roman Empire? So if I invite you to eat, like to party, come to Casa de Robin. There's a lot of food, you know. You can eat how much you want, and normally you can drink as much as you want, to the point that you will throw up yourself. Because the food, you know, the food is so good, you keep eating it, but then you're so full, and then you, sorry for being graphic, you throw up yourself. But after you clean up, those people proceed to eat again. It's like there's no limit. They just do whatever they want, you know. But Jesus say, if you have desire to come after me, you gotta deny yourself. So these two messages, albeit on the other, so the other side of both sides is on different spectrum, but the message is the same. We live a Christ-centered life. Yeah, is really Jesus the omakase of our driver? You know, that's the key. That's the reminder for us. That's why James wrote this when he go through like faith without work, it's dead. Because he want to say this: your faith, your belief, need to be reflected on your action. And basically at the same, and he criticizes on both sides. Both of your action is not Christ-centered. From Jewish perspective, when they receive Christ, they're not bound to follow the tradition. Think about it. They have choice. If they still want to observe the tradition or not, it doesn't matter. James say, I believe James in his mind, it doesn't matter if you want to keep it or not, as long as you still live what? A Christ-centered life. From the Gentile point of view, hey, it doesn't matter if you still want to eat pork, you know, but just, or you wanna like hang out with certain people, like whatever freedom you perceive, is Christ is the center. Who's the driver? Did you really tell God, it's up to you, omakase, or you still tell God what to do? This is the crux of these two messages. Remember, show it what you believe with action. You know, remember, like you hear like you know, for example, we have one of our few you know, like in terms of food, it's the same thing, right? Like we know Basuki love boba so much. We often joke, we always tease him. If he doesn't get the weekly boba, we go to the boba store, take a picture and send it to him. You know, But you know why we know Basuki loves boba? Why he trusts boba product so much? Not because he preach it, he live it. Right? He live, he drink boba, he try every place. Alright? Basuki is the Yelp of boba. He can tell you which place is good, which place is bad. He can tell you the quality of the tea and the quality of the boba. We're not judging him, okay? So, I want to close with this. I want to close this really quick. I call it another day at Twitter. So, the pop culture news of the week is this. Anybody know about this? Huh? Joel Austin invite Kanye West, Yeezy, to Lakewood Sunday service. Anybody know about this? Anybody heard?
No.
Huh?
Kanye
Oh, Joel Austin, no, no. Kanye West. So, Kanye West is R&B rapper. And then the reason why he got invited is because Kanye West recently released an album. And the album title is Jesus is King. I'm kind of curious to hear because some people say like his album is clean, no expletive word. Like the R&B is very clean, which is very rap. The rap is very clean, which is a rarity. I mean, so for me, when I hear this, like, oh, okay, cool, yeah. But if you click on the comment section of the type of the retweet, this is some of the comment, the highlight of comment that I received when I review this Twitter timeline. This is one. Wouldn't it be interesting if the first time Lakewood attendee heard the gospel at church was from Kanye West? Burn. You know. they love Kanye so much, so pray for Kanye for protection from this wolf. Refer to Joel Austin. And then it's like, maybe the first time for Joel Austin too. God works with anyone. You know, there's so many, type of comment, and these three caught me on my eyes. You wanna know why? You wanna know why I put these three messages here? Because the one who posts this comment, if you highlight their username, they declare themselves as a Christian. I wouldn't even, I don't really care about, the secular people say about it, but like, wow. For me, it's like, wow. It's like, just another guy go to the church, just happened like another guy called Yeezy, But the snide, the remark, the burn, like, it take me back again about the book of James. Like, why we are fighting. Why we are fighting. Why we do this. Why we do this. None of us is perfect. None of us is perfect. Granted, and anybody had have you guys ever heard Joel Austin's preach the sermon? Anybody here ever? Okay, if we're being truthful, yes, we have to. If we just being honest criticism, right? He rarely quote the Bible, right? He rarely used the word of Jesus, right? But then, what right I have to criticize him if I never went to the church? I never know the person, I used to have that preconceived notion about him until one, Pastor Henge went on the road trip to Austin. They visit Houston, and then he attended church, and he said, "Wow, it's so different from on the TV." The problem sometimes when we listen to the sermon on the TV or the podcast, it's a shortened version, 20 minutes. But when he say like, when I went there, he said like, he used the word Jesus. He asked people for altar call every week.
Yeah.
It's like for me, okay, I take your word for it. Like, you went there. I never been there, but I kind of take your word for it. So I kind of like, yeah, I'm not gonna judge. I'm not gonna judge. But this is what happened right now. So, just I want to close with this whole idea. I want to wrap it up again. James, this is what the last few verses. James reminds us once again, hey, confess your sins to each other. James 5:16. Confess your sins to each other and pray for each other so that you may be healed. The earnest prayer of a righteous person has great power and produces wonderful results. Look, he doesn't say confess. When he say you confess your sin to each other, it means all of us here need accountability one another. It meaning what? It's a reminder none of us is perfect. Remember, God saved us by grace. And while we live here, we will go through so many sanctification, purification process. There will be some high, there will be some low, there will be some good week, there will be like a movie log week. This week, for me, it's one of the worst in my life. You know, I had so many fighting. I'm fighting with not just my daughter, I'm fighting with my wife. You know, yes, me and Ginny reconcile, but you know how we reconcile? We confess our mistake. Ginny admitted to me, like, after we fight the next day, God talked to her to forgive me. But it's like, I couldn't. I was so mad because the way you talk to me. Me from Palu, from Sulawesi, I speak in a very high tone pitches, so I think it's like a dog whistle. So like it's annoying to my wife's ear, you know, because someone has like, something like that. It's like, it's really, my wife couldn't stand it. And I apologize, like, sorry, I say all of that mean thing. And we made up. But that's not the end of the story. You know, interesting, right? There's still so many things unleft. Like my BlackBerry is still broken, right? And tonight, you know, confession time to all of you guys. Tonight I have to sit down with Zoe because I haven't confessed my sin to her. On Wednesday, Zoe, when I pick her up, she says, sorry, Daddy, for what I did. And I'm still mad, I just ignore her. I was silent. Okay, my second. And then this morning, it became evident, right? I have freedom to be mad. I have freedom to how I treat her. But there's a consequences. This morning when I wake her up before we go to church. She told me this. Daddy, I had a nightmare yesterday. Yesterday. Oh yeah, what did you dream? What happened? What nightmare it is? In my dream, you were so mad, and you tear down all my favorite doll. And then what happened? I wake up, I was so scared. Then what happened? I want to go to your room, but I'm afraid because you are sleeping. So then what you do? I say, I went back to sleep and said, oh, okay, good. Now, why I need to confess to her? My flesh kind of, when I say like, because you were sleeping, I was like, oh yes, finally, maybe she understand that not to disturb Daddy when he's sleeping. But I know that's my pride talking there. That's my pride imposing my will upon Zoe. The key here, he say, he's afraid. Even though he had nightmare, so he rather keep it to herself. Now this is a nightmare. Can you imagine if my daughter Zoe growing up and then see that his dad is unapproachable? Because whenever she approaches her dad is like a roaring lion. They can tear things down. With his tantrum, with his sharp wit words, you know, with the throwing stuff and everything. When she say that, I'm just like, I need to make things right. I need to confess that Daddy is not perfect too. You know? So, as I think this is a good reminder to all of us, as James wrote this thing nicely. Guys, don't fight. Remember, none of us is perfect. All of us saved by grace. That's the key. So let each one of us have God to be the omakase driver, as I say. Let thy will be done. Not my will, thy will be done. And then among each other, you know, never see that yourself is better than the other. Jesus never judged anybody. So what in the right when we judge others, right? So this is I know I share a lot of my what's going on this week, but I just hope through this message, that we encourage one another, that our God is awesome, that unlike me, who is always afraid to come to my room now, Jesus would love for you to come into His throne, to draw near to Him. That's what He wants more than anything in this world. Amen. Let's bow our head and let's stand up and bow our head and pray. I want to pray. Dear God, just want to say thank you, Lord, for today. Lord, I had this opportunity to reflect and just to be reminded. And I just hope this message also become a reminder for all of us here that we are thankful, that we are so grateful for what you did at the cross, that you accept us with all the imperfection we have, and you see us as perfect from the beginning until the end. Lord, just want to pray that when we live our life, Lord, not look to the left or to the right, not to judge or argue over a simple thing. Maybe argue over tradition, maybe argue about certain, conduct or activity. But let it be, Lord, we just look on ourselves like, am I having you as in control of everything? That I don't tell you what to do, but it's all you. It's all omakase. It's all about what you want to do. Lord, I just want to pray, Lord, that you speak to each one of us, oh God. Lord. Humble our heart, oh God. Humble my heart, Lord. Give us grace, oh God. Because we know, Lord, if we live by our pride, Lord, it will lead to our downfall. If we live according to our pride, it will lead us to be more and more away from you, oh God. We need your grace, oh God. We need you more and more. And I just want to pray, Lord, that this word become a blessing, Lord, to each one of us here, and that we be able to see one another in a different light. That we see that we are here as a team, that we ought to help one another to keep things up, to bring glory for your kingdom. Thank you, God.
Praise the Lord. God is good. Well, you may be seated. Praise God. So once again, it's a blessing for me to be able to hear the message. It's a culture that we like to have here in the church, that we can be vulnerable at times. It's okay, and appreciate sometimes when the brother share his weaknesses, and everybody has weaknesses, and everybody need to show off more about their weaknesses rather than trying to boast and try to be perfect and trying to be, to look better than the actual. So it's good to always learn from each other.